Welcome back, everyone, to the Late Night Review. And tonight I'm going to be talking about a movie that is, it's disturbing because it was inspired by a true story. And it's about a serial killer that's very, very infamous. Probably one of the most, if not the most infamous serial killer in American history. And it happened close to where I grew up. And I was born in Washington State. Pacific Northwest. I was born in Washington State outside of Seattle, and this movie is the best movie that I'd ever seen that portrayed this serial killer. It's the best movie ever about Ted Bundy. I think The Deliberate Stranger, the movie I'm talking about tonight, is the best movie that I'd ever seen on Ted Bundy. It's disturbing, it's well acted, it's well done. It's just a very fascinating look at his life. And Mark Harmon plays Ted Bundy, and Mark Harmon did a masterful job. He made you believe he was him in this movie. He did such an amazing job as Ted Bundy. And I watched this movie over and over and over again. I call it a movie. It was a series on TV. Later, they put it into a number of cassettes. You can go and rent the series at the video store, and that's what we did. But before we rented it, my parents rented it, I seen it on TV. They reran it a lot. And I remember when it first came out, I was just very little. I was just a kid. I was born in 77, and they caught Ted Bundy once close right before I was born or right after I was born. And I think it was in Colorado. And then they held him up there, I believe, and he escaped. And then they caught him again, and he escaped again. And then later he went down to Florida, and he killed again. They caught him again and put him in prison, and then he never escaped after that. But I remember hearing stories about him when I was a kid, because that's where I grew up. We used to go to Lake Sammamish, where he used to pick up girls. He used to pick up women at Lake Sammamish, young women, and kill them. Take them, kill them. He came back. One time he came back the same day. He kidnapped a girl, killed her, came back and kidnapped another girl and killed her too. It was awful. And I remember seeing this series when I was a kid. My parents watched it, so I was on the floor watching it. Remember seeing Mark Harmon. Always liked Mark Harmon. I think he's been good, really good in everything that I've ever seen him in. And Summer School, to lighten things up a little bit, I think it was Summer School was funny, and he was in that. He was also in a TV show, another TV show that was pretty dramatic, where they were trying to take his kids from him. I think he was a single dad trying to raise his kids or something like that. I can't remember the name of it because it's been so many years since I've seen it. It's a drama. I thought it was sad. They were trying to take his kids, and he was trying to keep his kids, and that was really a good. But in the Presidio with him and Sean Connery and Meg Ryan, that was another good movie. But The Deliberate Stranger is really the one that stands out to me. I think is very well done. And I grew up in Washington State. That's where I was born, in Renton, Washington. I don't live in Renton anymore, but I remember hearing a lot of stuff and watching this show, watched documentaries. I was a little baby when they caught him for the first and the last time, I think. I'd have to go back and check. I was born in 77. I'd have to go back and check the years. I know they finally caught him in Florida. When I was growing up, we used to go to Lake Sammamish and have picnics. My parents used to take me there. And then we went to the Green River. We used to inner tube at the Green River. That's where the Green River Killer dumped his victims. He killed women, mostly prostitutes, and dumped their bodies there. We were going to the Green River when that happened. They asked Ted Bundy, too, after they caught him, to kind of give a profile and maybe help investigators a little bit to catch the Green River Killer. I don't know how far they got with that, but Ted Bundy nicknamed him, I think, the River Man. There was a book called The River Man, too. But yeah, I used to watch documentaries about Bundy, especially after my parents watched this movie and I watched it with them. Then I started getting into documentaries about him and other killers, too. But yeah, this movie, The Deliberate Stranger, I think is the best movie about Ted Bundy that I'd ever seen. Maybe I haven't seen them all. There was one that I tried watching and I can't remember it. I turned it off. It sucked. The guy didn't look like Ted Bundy at all. The actors, the women in there didn't relate to him the way they related to Ted Bundy in real life. Ted Bundy was a handsome, charming guy who can deceive people with his words, and he was very alluring. And this movie didn't capture that at all. But the movie I'm talking about tonight really, really does. Mark Harmon does a masterful job as Ted Bundy. Everyone in here does a good job. There's multiple actors in this movie that I had seen in a ton of other things. There's so many actors in here that I've seen in other movies. It'd take quite a while to tell you who they all are, but they all do a good job. They all do a really, really a good job. Something funny I just thought about. I know it's kind of a dark topic, but something funny I just thought about. The guy that plays Bob Larson in this movie was in Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks, and he's a good actor. I've seen him in multiple other movies, and there's plenty of characters in here that I'd seen in other shows, movies, and television. But The Deliberate Stranger is really a good movie. It's long. It's a series. I keep calling it a movie, but it's a series. It's really, really, really a good movie, and it's a fast pace. It's well acted, well put together, well edited. I think the cinematography is good, but it really captures the essence of the story. And I'm not an expert on this, so I don't know exactly how accurate this movie is in terms of just cold, hard facts, but it's really a good movie, The Deliberate Stranger with Mark Harmon. It's about Ted Bundy, and Mark Harmon does a really good job. And I think that he was perfect for the role. One thing, I always thought that there was a few actors that could have done a really good job as Ted Bundy as well. I think I always thought Patrick Bergin would have made a convincing Ted Bundy. I also thought Terrence Knox, who was in Tour of Duty on television, would have made a good Ted Bundy because they look like him. Patrick Bergin and Terrence Knox both look like him. And maybe a Rob Lowe, even now, if they made a movie, Rob Lowe could probably, because he's got a young face. Even Rob Lowe, he looked like Ted Bundy. I think if they made fix the hair and got him into the clothes that Ted Bundy usually wore, I think he would have made a convincing Ted Bundy too. Rob Lowe, Terrence Knox, or Patrick Bergin. I always thought Patrick Bergin looked like Ted Bundy. But yeah, they would have done a good job too. But Mark Harmon does a masterful job as Ted Bundy, and he always does a good acting job in everything I've seen him in. And it's really a good movie. So if you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend The Deliberate Stranger. It's a really, really well done movie. This has been the Late Night Review. Please like and subscribe and share this video. Give a thumbs up. It helps the channel. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a good night.